My mom invited herself to live with us just for a month after her renovation. Month 7, she rearranged my kitchen, enrolled my kids in different after-school programs without asking, and told my wife, "This is still my son's house. You're a guest." My wife said nothing. She'd been looking at apartments for 2 weeks, found one. We moved in on a Saturday, left Mom in a house whose lease was up in 14 days. My mom said it while my daughter was still standing there in her socks, holding a cereal bowl. "This is still my son's house," she told my wife. "You're a guest." Lena didn't answer. She just went very still, like someone hit pause. Our kids froze in the doorway behind her. Emma's spoon clinked against the bowl. Jack glanced from Grandma to his mom like he needed a referee. Then my mom turned to Emma and added, like she was clarifying a rule, "And guests don't get to make the rules for the house, sweetheart. Grandma does." Emma's shoulders dropped. She put her bowl in the sink without finishing, even though she'd been starving 5 seconds earlier. Jack went quiet, which is how I know he's not okay. I stood there with my travel mug in my hand, wearing a dress shirt and no tie yet, watching my mother shrink my family in my own kitchen. And I still went to work. I should have known then that the storm had already started. I'm Thomas, 41. I live in Columbus, Ohio. I'm a business consultant, which is a nice way of saying I spend my life fixing other people's messes in exchange for too many slides and too many late flights. Lena's my wife. She's 38, teaches art at an elementary school. We have 2 kids, Emma, 9, who reads under the covers with a flashlight, and Jack, 6, who thinks dinosaurs could probably beat cars in a race if someone would just let them try. My mom, Diane, is 66 and has never believed she's old, wrong, or finished with anything. The whole mess started with her just-a-month plan. Last summer, Mom decided to finally renovate her condo. New floors, new kitchen, fresh paint. She'd been talking about it for years. When the contractor said she'd have to be out for 4 weeks tops, she called me. "Tommy, can I stay with you and Lena? Just for a month? I'll pay some rent if you want," she'd said. I already knew some rent meant a bag of groceries and a lecture about how expensive apples are now. But I also remembered all the childhood stuff. Lunches, packed, scraped knees bandaged, her working double shifts when my dad bailed. So I said yes. I told Lena before I told my mom, but it wasn't really a question. "That's on me. We'll make it work," Lena said, soft, picking at a paint stain on her leggings. "A month isn't forever. We have a 4-bedroom house I pay for. My salary covers the mortgage, my mom's condo HOA fees, and more small emergencies than I care to count. When Mom's HVAC died 2 winters ago, I put it on my card. When she forgot to pay her car insurance for 3 months, I paid that too. When she wanted to put down a bigger deposit on the condo years back, I wrote the check. She calls it us helping each other. It's mostly me helping. I set her up on my bank's bill pay portal, added her utilities to my dashboard so they wouldn't slip through the cracks. For a while, I even had her internet on autopay for my account so she could afford medication. If I'm being honest, half of it was guilt and half was habit. That's what happens when you're the responsible kid. So she moved in on August 1st. By September, the 4 weeks had turned into they found mold behind the cabinets. The contractor needed a bit more time. Her stuff spread through our house like fog. 1 suitcase in the guest room, then 2 plastic bins in the hallway, then a stack of mail she needed to go through on our entryway table. By October, I was still paying her condo mortgage, plus our mortgage, plus the temporary rent on the house she'd found to stay in once the renovation ran long. Except she didn't stay there. She just kept staying with us and used that house as her mailing address and storage. I signed the lease as guarantor because she guilted me into it. "It's just for a year, Tommy. I have my Social Security. I'll cover most of it. You might have to help some months, but we're family." Some months turned into all months real quick. Meanwhile, she had started fixing things. My kitchen, first. She rearranged every cabinet while we were at work and school. Our mugs moved above the fridge, plates down low, spices in a shoe organizer on the pantry door so it's more efficient. "Mom, where's the colander?" Lena asked that first night, trying to drain pasta. "In a better place," my mom said. Like that answered anything. She didn't ask. She never asked. Then came the kids' schedules. I came home one Tuesday to find Emma sitting at the table with a folder of new brochures. "What's all this?" I asked. "Grandma signed us up for chess club and math enrichment," she said. Her voice was flat. And coding camp on Saturdays, Jack added, like he was reading a list of chores. Lena's hands were in a sink full of suds. She didn't look up. My mom, on the couch, waved a hand. You should thank me. Those art classes are a waste. They need real skills. I enrolled them in proper programs. The art teacher can't give them a future. Lena dried her hands on a towel. I am the art teacher. My mom smiled, all teeth. Exactly. I laughed it off. Changed nothing. Paid the fees when my card buzzed with new charges. Patterns. They start small. The day my mom called my daughter weak over chicken nuggets is the one I still taste in the back of my throat. It was month 4 of just a month. November. Dark by 5 p.m., everyone tired and a little frayed. Emma had a rough day. Some girl at school told her her secondhand shoes were baby shoes. She held it together until dinner, then quietly asked if she could be excused. No, my mom said before I could answer. In this house, we finish our plates. Emma's eyes filled. I don't feel good. Oh, please. This is why you're so sensitive. In my day, we didn't run to our rooms every time we felt a feeling. Mom reached over, cut Emma's chicken into smaller pieces like she was 3, not 9. Eat, and stop pouting. No one likes a sulker. I opened my mouth. Lena put her hand on my knee under the table. Her eyes said, Don't. Not now. After dinner, Emma disappeared into her room. I found her later sitting on the floor drawing on printer paper. A little house with 3 stick figures outside. Us. No grandma in the picture. She'd drawn an X over the kitchen window. I don't like it anymore, she said when she caught me looking. The house. It feels loud. She's 9. She shouldn't know how to describe the emotional volume of a room, but here we were. I tucked her in, promised that things would calm down. I lied, because by then, my mom had started punishing Lena too. Not in big blow-ups, in small cuts. She would redo the dishwasher correctly after Lena loaded it. She'd refold the kids' clothes because they're going to get teased if they're wrinkled. She'd tell the kids, Ask Daddy. Mommy's tired. Whenever they wanted something fun. And one night, when I came home late from a client dinner, I heard her whisper through the vent. She's lucky, Mom told Emma and Jack. She married up. This was my son's house before she came along. Don't forget who really takes care of you. I stood in the hallway and did nothing. Again, the financial stuff kept stacking up in the background. I covered the last $3,200 of her renovation. Overrun, because the contractor surprised us. I paid the full rent on the temporary house she wasn't even sleeping in. I topped up her checking account when she forgot her property tax bill. And every time I hesitated, she reminded me how much she'd sacrificed when I was little, how many nights she spent alone, how many times she went without. It was like she'd installed a guilt app in my brain as a kid, set it to auto-renew, and I'd never learned to uninstall it. What I didn't know was that Lena had hit her threshold a long time before I did. The "this is my son's house" morning came in month 7. By then, Mom's condo was finished. Had been finished for 6 weeks. New countertops, new floors, new paint. I knew because I'd been there to sign the final check. She just didn't move back. It's easier for me here, she said. Closer to my doctors, closer to the grandkids. Why are you pushing me out? I wasn't. Not really. I grumbled about space. I joked about parking. But I never said, you need to leave. That morning, she finally said the quiet part out loud. I was tying my tie, half listening, when I heard voices rising in the kitchen. I only asked them not to enroll Jack in something on Thursdays, Lena said. Her voice was tight. That's the one night we have family dinner, just us. You agreed to that last month. I agreed to nothing, my mom snapped. Those programs cost money. My son is paying. He trusts my judgment. I walked in just in time to see Mom step closer to Lena, chin lifted. This is still my son's house, she said. You're a guest. Emma and Jack both looked up from their cereal like they'd been slapped. Lena's jaw flexed. Once, she didn't argue, she didn't cry, she just put the dish towel down, turned to the kids, and said, finish your breakfast. You'll be late. Then she grabbed her keys and left without looking at me. Later that night, after the kids were in bed and my mom was watching TV loud enough to shake the windows, Lena showed me the tabs open on her laptop. Apartments. Dozens of them. Circles on a map, listings with bad photos and worse carpet. 1 bedroom, 2 bedroom, close to the kids' school. Not close to my mom. I've been looking for 2 weeks, she said. I didn't tell you because I wanted to see if you'd notice something was wrong without me having to spell it out. I felt that like a punch. You were going to leave? With the kids? I was going to leave the situation, she said. Whether you came with us was up to you. I stared at the screen. You can't just uproot them. They're already uprooted, Tom. She pointed toward the ceiling where Emma's room was. She flinches when your mother walks into her room. Jack calls our bedroom Grandma's room with the extra bed. We haven't had dinner alone without commentary in months. I'm done arguing with someone who isn't supposed to be my third child. I'm paying for everything, I said, which was a stupid thing to say, but it came out anyway. I can't just… Exactly, Lena cut in. You're paying for everything, twice, for us and for her. You keep saying it's temporary, but it's been 7 months. She has a finished condo and a leased house you're covering. Meanwhile, your daughter thinks her drawings aren't good enough to hang on the fridge because your mom keeps taking them down to make room for her grocery lists. She took a breath. I found a place. 2 bedrooms, small but clean. 3rd floor walk-up, available in 3 weeks. 3 weeks. It felt like tomorrow. You already applied? I asked. Approved yesterday, she said. I haven't signed the lease yet. I was waiting to see if you were coming with us, or if we just set up a schedule for the kids. I sat there with my laptop open and my stomach somewhere near my shoes. This wasn't about a plate of chicken or a snide comment. It wasn't even about the kitchen or the after-school programs. It was about the fact that I had let my mom build a life funded by my work and my guilt, and she'd started charging interest by taking it from my wife and kids. And for the first time, something in me snapped in the right direction. Send me the lease, I said. The actual boundary wasn't the apartment. That was the escape hatch. The boundary was money. I decided, for the first time in my life, to shut the tap off. Not slowly, not with warnings. Clean. The next morning, I woke up before everyone else. The house was quiet, the way I wished it stayed. I made coffee and opened my laptop at the dining table. My mom still had 2 places tied to my accounts, her condo and the temporary rental house, plus her car insurance, plus a credit card with my name as co-signer she promised never to actually use. I logged into the bank. The condo mortgage? I set an end date for my auto transfer, 2 weeks from now, the day before the next payment was due. Then I scheduled a final one, clearly labeled Final Contribution. That one hurt, but it felt like cutting the last cord. The rental house? Different story. That lease was up in 14 days. I opened the email chain with the property manager, found the clause about renewal notice, and drafted a message. Hi, this is Thomas ____, guarantor for Diane Prez lease at… We will not be renewing the lease when it expires on it. Please consider this official notice. All further financial responsibility will be between you and the primary tenant. I read it 3 times. No apology. No explanation. I hit send. Next, I went to the car insurance portal. My policy showed her little sedan nested under mine as an additional driver. I removed the vehicle from the policy effective at the end of the current billing cycle. A little warning popped up. Are you sure you want to remove this vehicle? This action cannot be undone. Yes, I was sure. Then I pulled up the credit card account. The balance was higher than I liked. A lot of restaurant charges I knew weren't mine. A quick Target run that wasn't quick, a gift for the kids that never actually made it home. I paid it off. Then I called the customer service line. Hi, I need to remove an authorized user from my card, I said. The rep confirmed details. And just to be clear, she won't be able to use the card anymore once we process this. I know, I said. That's the point. When I hung up, my hands were shaking, but not from fear, from adrenaline. I wasn't just unplugging her from my finances. I was finally acknowledging that my paycheck had turned into the family life support machine, and my mom was the one adjusting the oxygen levels for everyone else. By the time the kids came down for breakfast, the changes were already in motion. That night, Lena, the kids, and I packed boxes. Not everything, just the essentials. Clothes, favorite books, toys, Emma's sketchbooks, Jack's dinosaur army, the coffee maker Lena loved, the cheap but sturdy dining table we'd picked out together before my mom decided it wasn't nice enough. We stacked the boxes in the garage behind the bikes and the holiday decorations. Mom went to bed early, complaining about a headache. She didn't see. On Saturday, my brother-in-law, Mark, showed up with his pickup truck. "You really doing this?" he asked quietly while we loaded a mattress. "Yeah," I said. "I should have done it months ago." He clapped my shoulder once. "About time you stopped being the family ATM." We moved fast. Lena took the kids to go get donuts at 9 o'clock. Mark and I started hauling things out the back door to avoid the kitchen where my mom was watching TV. Couch, dresser, boxes of books, the kids' art supplies. The small things that make a place feel like your place. By noon, the truck was full and the house looked bare. Mom's stuff was still everywhere, though. Her throw pillows, her heavy curtains she'd insisted on, her magnet collection on the fridge, all the things she'd used to fix our life. I left the keys on the kitchen counter next to a note. "Mom, we've moved into an apartment. The kids and Lena need space and so do I. The lease on the other house ends in 14 days. We aren't renewing and I won't be covering it anymore. The condo is finished and waiting for you. I'm not your backup bank, I'm your son. There's a difference. If you want a relationship with me and the kids, it has to be without you living with us or managing our home. Thomas." I didn't wait for her to find it. We drove to the new place. 3rd floor, no elevator. Beige walls, laminate counters. Nothing fancy. The kids ran from room to room, breathless. "Is this all ours?" Jack asked, poking his head into the tiny second bedroom. "Yeah, buddy," I said. "All ours." Emma stood in the middle of the living room and spun slowly, taking it in. "It's small," she said. "It is," I agreed. She smiled. "I like it. It's quiet." Lena met my eyes over her head. She didn't say thank you. She didn't need to. My phone started buzzing before we finished building the IKEA bookshelves. First my mom. 6 missed calls in a row. Then 3 voicemails. Then a text. "Where are you? The house is empty. What have you done?" I put the phone face down on the counter. An hour later, "Thomas, this isn't funny. You can't just abandon your own mother. I have nowhere to go." Another one? "I just called the landlord. He said you canceled the renewal. Are you insane? What am I supposed to do in 2 weeks?" I typed, erased, typed again. Finally, I sent one message. "You have a fully renovated condo. That's your home. I'm not paying for a second one. We moved out. We won't be living together anymore." She called immediately. I answered on speaker so Lena could hear. "How dare you?" she started. "No, hello? You sneak out like a thief and leave me with nothing? After everything I've done for you? I have bills. I have a life here. I rearranged that house for you, made it a home, and you run off to some shoebox because your wife can't handle a little company." I let her talk. "You're being manipulated," she went on. "This is Lena, isn't it? She's turning you against your own mother. Does she think that pathetic little apartment is an upgrade? You belong in your house, with your family, with me." When she finally stopped to breathe, I spoke. "Mom, listen," I said, voice steady. "We're not doing this anymore. You don't get to talk about my wife like that. You don't get to rearrange my kids' lives. And you don't get to live on my dime while tearing down the people I'm actually responsible for. I raised you," she snapped. "I know," I said. "And I'm grateful. That's why I helped with the condo. That's why I covered bills. But it crossed a line. You humiliated Emma. You undermine Lena. You treat our house like your project. I won't fund that version of family anymore." "You're abandoning me," she said, voice suddenly small. "No," I said. "I'm stepping back. Your mortgage is yours. Your car is yours. Your life is yours. I'll help in emergencies, but I am not your default plan." She tried one more angle. "What am I supposed to tell people?" she said. "That my son ran off to a rental and left me alone." "Tell them the truth," I said. "Your son moved to protect his kids and his marriage, and his mother has a perfectly good home of her own. She called me selfish, ungrateful, whipped. Said Lena was winning. I didn't argue. "I love you," I said, "but I will hang up if you keep insulting my wife in front of our kids." There was a long pause. "You'll regret this, Thomas," she said finally. "Maybe," I said, "but my kids won't." I ended the call. The silence afterward was loud and clean. Over the next week, the fallout came in waves. My aunt texted a paragraph about honoring your mother and remembering who changed your diapers. My cousin sent a shorter one. I heard what happened. For what it's worth, I think you did the right thing. Mark dropped by with pizza and a toolbox. Helped put up shelves. Let the kids show him their new room like it was a castle. My mom sent one more message the day before the lease expired. So that's it? You're really cutting your own mother off. I stared at it, then typed, I'm cutting off the part where I pay for your lifestyle while you disrespect my family. My door is open for visits. Our wallets are closed. I hit send. She didn't reply. We had our first Sunday, just us dinner in the apartment a week later. The table barely fit in the little dining nook, so one chair stuck out at a weird angle. We left it empty. Jack insisted on helping make spaghetti. Emma made place cards out of sticky notes. Daddy, Mom, Emma, Jack. She put one more down on the empty chair and just wrote question_Mark on it. Is that for Grandma? Jack asked. It's for whoever shows up and acts nice, Emma said. Serious. Could be Grandma, could be Uncle Mark, could be the pizza guy. Lena snorted. I bit back a laugh. We ate out of mismatched bowls. The sauce was a little too salty because I mixed up the lids on the spices in the move. No one criticized it. After dinner, Emma pulled out her new sketchbook. She drew our apartment, crooked windows, a little balcony, 4 stick figures on a tiny couch. No extra people. No X over the window. Can we put it on the fridge? She asked. You don't have to ask, I said. She grinned and stuck it up with a magnet shaped like a strawberry that Lena had hidden away when my mom first came, because your mother says it looks tacky. Under the drawing, she wrote in pencil, Our house. Later that night, after the kids were asleep, Lena and I sat on the floor, backs against the couch. Mark and I had barely squeezed through the door. Do you miss the house? She asked. Sometimes, I said. The yard, the extra bathroom, being able to walk to the park. What about your mom? She asked. I thought about my mother in her finished condo, probably calling friends to spin the story, probably furious about losing control of my kitchen and my bank account. I miss the version of her that didn't keep score, I said. The one who made grilled cheese and danced in the kitchen when I was 10. But I don't miss the one who told our daughter she was too sensitive and told you were a guest in your own home. Lena leaned her head on my shoulder. You did the right thing, she said. I didn't feel like a hero. I felt steady, like someone who finally refused to pay an invoice that never stopped growing. 2 weeks later, Emma came home with a family assignment from school. Draw your family in your home. Include everyone who lives with you. She sat at the table, tongue between her teeth, drawing carefully. Are you going to put Grandma in it? Jack asked, watching. Emma thought for a minute. Then she drew 4 little people on a 3rd-floor balcony, a potted plant, and a crooked little heart above the door. She doesn't live with us, Emma said. She can have her own picture. This one's ours. I put that drawing on the fridge next to the first. 2 pictures, 1 old house, 1 new apartment. 1 with an X, 1 with a heart. Every time I see them, I remember the line in my note. I'm not your backup bank. I'm your son. It turns out, once you stop being someone's backup bank, you finally have enough left to invest in the people who actually live in your home. And that's the only ledger that matters now.